everyone, and welcome. I am the Progressive Moose. Just getting going here, guys. Bear with me. Hello, guys. Just getting invites sent out. Bear with me as I get going here, guys. Hope everyone's been having a good week, guys. We made it through another week. This weekend definitely had a lot more going on overall, but we made it through. And now we're here to break down the biggest stuff, being the tariff war now currently going on with the United States and Canada. So, guys, stick around for more in depth conversation on it and information. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Just gathering before the show actually begins, guys. Starts at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. So, we're gathering a little early to get things going. Hello, Joe. Good to see ya. Thanks for stopping in. Just getting things going, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button and share the stream. Let people know we're getting going here. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Just getting things started and going here, guys. Thanks for joining. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing good. Hope your weekend's been good. You've been able to get a bit of rest in, recharge yourselves for the week coming. Best thing we can do, guys. Hello, everyone. Come on in, take a seat, guys. Hello, Cindy. Thank you for coming. Flutter by Jazz. Thank you. I see you. I see the love. Thank you so much. Appreciate it all, guys. Bear with me. Like I said, just getting things going, guys. Working away on stuff. Shake 'em with me. Let's join the fight. We can save the world tonight. Civilization all around the world. So just here, show everywhere. Fucked it up. They got it wrong. Hello, Tammy. Good to see ya. Revolution is a really good word. Even been to protest before. I'm just jumping on the bandwagon, hoping it will sell some albums, 'cause I gotta sell albums if I wanna make money. That's the only thing that will ever make me happy. It was written in me when I was a child. Money makes the world go round. Here today to stop the world turning and introduce a new way of thinking with people over profit, love over greed. Raise your hands and shake 'em with me. Enough of us join up and join the fight. We can change the world tonight. All right, guys. Always a great song. Gets me pumped. Thanks for joining. Zen, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hello, everyone. We are gathering. Got about 15 minutes till showtime, guys. So just let's chat. Let's have a conversation. How you guys doing out there? Comes banging and the flags are waving. Everything's so complicated. The new thing is a deadly invasion, with innocents dying and the death toll rising. The whole thing is fucking horrible. You somehow paint it as inevitable, with seas flattened and people fleeing. Lies are being told like they are something to believe in. Now I'm sitting in your car watching more crimes on my phone. Wondering when now, sending the drone. Not sure if there's good guys and bad guys anymore. Getting paid and who they're rooting for. I stand with the victims, whoever they are, and I'm against the wall. Guys, it's one of my favorite songs. Apologize, I get right into the song sometimes. Guys, don't forget to keep hitting that like button. Tapping is clapping. Don't forget to share the stream, guys. What I want you to do, though, when you're sharing, is act like you're trying to poke me in the forehead. Keep your finger there and do it individually. It helps boost the stream, let more people know we're here, gets the word out better than doing the mass share from the bottom there. But yeah, share the stream, guys. Let everyone know that we're getting going. I could be lagging. It happens quite a bit with my stuff, so I apologize for that, guys. It does sort itself out eventually, if it is lagging. Guys, I got spots open. If you guys want to come up for the episode, come up for the live, by all means. I love to have other people's voices. So send a request to come up, guys, if you want to be a part of the conversation. We are going to be getting more into the nitty gritty of the tariff situation, guys. I know I talked about it last week, but there's so much more at this point through this weekend alone. So much information to unpack and break down. Make sure everyone knows what's going on. So that's my job here tonight, is to give you the best information that I can, guys. I've got so much in front of me here for information, and yeah, so that'll be what we're talking about tonight. So, guys, if you want to come up and join me, come on up and let's chat. Even if you want to chat just before we get going with the show, by all means, come up, say hi. If you got something you want to highlight, whether locally or just make sure people know what's going on, by all means, come up and give us a rundown of what you got for us. That's what we're here for, right? Is get the word out, get the news out, get the important facts and information out there, and spread awareness as to what we're facing, whether it's as a country, as a province, as our own individual little communities. That's the goal, guys. Organize, be informed, organize, and do our best to fight back against the powers that are making life so unaffordable and difficult for a lot of Canadians in today's world. That's the goal, guys. Thank you for coming, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for all the love. I see everyone hitting that love button there. Really appreciate it, guys. And if you've been around, I just want to do a bit of a shameful plug here, guys. If you've been around, if you've seen my content, you enjoy it, there's that little orangish gold heart up there, guys. Become a part of the team. Let's do it all together. That's the whole point, is to organize, do it as a team all together. Um, yeah. So options are there, guys. Entirely up to you. I will never pressure anyone, but hopefully my reporting and what I inform you on speaks for itself. And hopefully, if you feel compelled, guys, those options are there. Thank you so much, everyone. Sita, hello, Sita. Good to see you. Stick around. We're going to be talking about the tariffs and what's going on with trade with the United States, so stick around if you want a bit more information. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the gift so much. Thank you, thank you. You guys are fantastic. Guys, keep hitting that like button. Hey, thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. Jax, thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. You are fantastic. Again, guys, if you want to come up, say hello, and chat, by all means, send a request to come on up, guys. We've got 9 minutes till showtime. So, by all means, come on up, say hi if you want. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all of it. Katie, thank you so much. Hey, Val, good to see you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. You guys are fantastic. I really appreciate all of you. You guys are great, and this is what it's about. It's about community. It's about us coming together and figuring things out with the information that we have facing us as Canadians today. So, yeah, we'll get into it soon, guys. We've got about 9 minutes till showtime. Lockheed Martin laptop watching nuclear bombs explode. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing very good. Good to see you. Thanks for coming up.
Oh, thank you. You look healthy.
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's the music, honestly. Like I play this
Yeah.
stuff before I go live, and it just gets me in the mode for doing this.
Is that beans on toast?
Yes, absolutely, beans on toast.
I wanted to pop up and I wanted to remind people that Canada first, and we are a country um, that's had a lot of issues that we've solved in ways unlike our American cousins. And whether we like it or not, we we are there are American cousins. We have an economic tie to them. We have a genealogical tie to them. We have a historical tie to them. I don't want to understate what Trump is doing. I'm not exactly sure what his end game really is because he admitted it wasn't the fentanyl, and he admitted it wasn't the border. So does is he just honestly trying to, in his own way, take us over economically? Because it really, really won't work when you punch the numbers, Moose. It doesn't work. It's not in their favor.
No, absolutely. I agree with you on that. There's so many different aspects, and hopefully, once I get through the rundown, once the show gets started, we can get more into that. Absolutely, because I think there's a couple different factors in terms of what's going on in Trump's mind that plays into his moves. Do we know fully what he's thinking? Absolutely not. I mean, it's chaos trying to figure out what he does do and say, let alone what's actually in his mind, right? Um, so. But I mean, we can speculate, and I think it's multifaceted in terms of all the different rhetoric and actions he's now, especially over the weekend with the stuff that he's doing. Um, a part of it, and I will admit, a part of it will be that all this will kind of do the whole America First thing, where it will make it so different manufacturers in different sectors start doing more within the American border. So he's always said he wants to bring business back and bring manufacturing back. So in a way, it will do that. But the issue is at what little, at how high of a cost, not only for America but for North America as a whole. Um, so you're right. It's a hard one to figure out what his end game would be, and I can't even speculate on that overall. But it's not going to help whatsoever. I agree with you on that absolutely.
Well, Moose,
Skillet.
there's a
Hey,
reason they call us the true North, strong and free, because that's exactly what we are.
yeah,
We might not be we might not be a superpower in this world, but we have a lot of other stuff up our sleeves. People things that people don't even realize.
absolutely, absolutely. And one quick thing, and then Skillard, I'll let you have the floor for a second there. One thing that I keep pointing out when I do my lives, guys, Miss Radical's here. She's been doing the same. Hi, Miss Radical. Good to see you. Talking about the northern corridor for the shipping route that is going to be becoming a thing on our northern flank, so to speak. So we're gonna have that within our waters, and that's going to drastically change how trade goes. And a part of the aspects with Trump and his rhetoric and how he's doing things is honestly, I think, a part of him trying to have America have their hands in that trade corridor one way or another, whether it's getting some sort of profit for it or even just having their military help us patrol it, right? Which would benefit Americans in terms of we probably pay them to help us patrol it and stuff like that, right? So that's one faucet or way avenue I'm sure he probably thinks of in his whole crazy thought process. Skillard, go ahead.
Awesome. I might be a little bit out of range here. I got 5G on me, but I'll be kind of hope. Anyway, can you hear?
You're chopping in and out
Yeah,
there,
it's a little
Skillard.
delay. Yeah, I think I got it back. Okay, thanks. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, I think what you guys are saying is right on. With Trump, I feel like why he's doing so much so quickly is that he's making up for last time. He is egomaniac that knows that he should have won uh, the last election, and he is making up for lost time. And you can just tell by the way of his demeanor, he's not messing around with trying to sound like the political scapegoat that he tries to play. So it's very funny that he's very direct and very unwilling to bend, which is his. Um, I think chapter 4 of The Art of the Deal was shoot high, aim high, and expect low, but expect something, right? If he did do all this, he would just be sitting like a duck and looking like he's not doing anything. So I think a lot of this is coming out of an ego status of making up for last time, and all the shit that the Democrats have put him through in the 4 years. He is just saying, you know what, F it all. You're getting the real Trump now, like 2.0, and we're seeing it now. And Canada is not reaping the benefits of his return. And I'll just end my plane there. But yeah, I appreciate this topic.
Yeah, not a problem. There's definitely some stuff, I won't get into it now, of course, but we can agree to disagree on some stuff. For the majority, I agree with you on that. Uh, the most of what you said there, and
Okay.
either way, I mean, no matter how you look at it, how you're viewing things, it's going to be a bumpy ride for both Canada and the United States moving forward. With the tariffs and the trade situation involved with all this
If
happening.
there was no such thing as a trade war, then how would we look then? How would Trump look then? I see it as a way of coming out of the gate looking strong
Yeah. Oh,
for
Happy,
the
can you
world
mute
to
for
see.
just a second, dude? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I tried to land my plane, but yeah, he's just coming out looking strong, coming out hard,
Mhm.
and that's trying to make not just a national stand, but international stance, and that is basically his next 4 years. Is he's gonna fuck with everyone that fucks with him first? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, again, we can agree to disagree on some stuff. So just for now, Skillard, if I can get you to mute, Happy,
Absolutely.
quick comment before I get going on the show here. Anything you want to add?
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. I think we know that Donald Trump is an egomaniac. That's for sure. That's something that nobody's going to deny. But I think to attribute like some kind of thought process beyond like trying to assume total control, I think is naive. And he's already made a couple of moves to extend his term to 3. So yeah, I know I wouldn't take anything he does lightly, and um, yeah, or discount anything he says. He's a terrorist, and he's going to terrorize the world for the next 4 years, or until somebody in the United States puts together, some kind of legal action to impede that. But he's definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
He's got all the power in place to do it. There's not a lot that anybody can do to stop it, and
And he
that's why
knows that,
that's why
right?
he's
And that's why he's
emboldened.
playing his cards.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
not close to
Um,
his chest.
yeah. All right. Skillard, just mute again quickly.
Yes.
Jax, quickly, if you have something you want to add before I actually get going, and then guys, I'll start the show after Jax.
I don't want to add to anything anyone said. Can I do like a little like PSA before you start?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, just a reminder to everyone that we can't produce blood, and when you need it, you don't have time to wait for it. So if you are able to donate blood, please donate blood because we are blessed to have a healthcare system that is, costs us parking and that's it. And one of the things that saves lives is blood. And, I'm lucky to go and visit with my dad today because he had blood on Monday. So donate if you can, please. It's really important. And blood is medicine for babies in the NICU. Babies in the NICU, micropreemies and preemies require blood, different blood products, but they require blood, and it's their coffee and it saves their lives, right? It can be all the difference in a bad day or a good day for a baby in the NICU. So please donate blood if you can. And yeah,
Awesome.
that's Michael's line.
Yeah,
But that's
no,
all I wanted to say because
no,
people
that's
were listening.
fantastic, Jack. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And it's true. I've had family members and people close to me that have needed blood for one reason or another, guys. It's definitely important. If you're able to and willing to by all means, like I advocate for that so much. I give blood when I can. So absolutely. Thank you so much, Jax, for that. So, guys, let's get the show going. I'm a couple minutes behind, which is fine. We've been having a good conversation. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Tapping is clapping. And, guys, don't forget to share. And when you go to share, just act like you want to put your finger through my forehead, hold it there, and send individual because it helps boost the stream a bit better when you do that, guys. Um, as well, I want to announce if you haven't found out yet or haven't been around, I have also joined Beaver Politics. So I am hosting their Wednesday show at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's called The Mossy Side with the Moose. So, guys, come check me out Wednesday over there. But they've got a lineup right through Monday through Saturday at this point, guys. Again, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and come join us over at Beaver Politics for all the different conversations, guys. Great hosts, great conversations, great topics. Fantastic channel, guys. With that, guys, of course, as I said in my video, here we are, and we're going to be talking about the tariff situation. Saturday is when it all started. I was watching, trying to see what was happening. I didn't pay attention long enough, guys, but it broke after I stopped paying attention Saturday. And I've sifted through so much information to bring you the best that I can to break it down for you. So, guys, the American tariffs Donald Trump has implemented, and his comments on it. I have implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, and a 10% additional tariff on China, Trump said in his statements. Trump's executive order states that the tariffs will go into effect at 12:01 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, February 4th. Trump said he was imposing tariffs because of the major threat of fentanyl crossing into the United States. We need to protect Americans, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise on my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it, Trump said in his statement. This comes after weeks of Trump repeatedly warning Mexico and Canada, two of the United States' top trading partners, he will impose tariffs if the two countries do not end fentanyl trafficking and the flow of migrants across the U.S. borders. He has also complained about deficits in trade after both countries took steps to boost security. The executive order also has a clause meant to deter Canada from retaliating should Canada retaliate against the United States in response to the actions through import duties on United States exports to Canada or similar measures, the President may increase or expand in scope the duties imposed under the order to ensure the efficiency of this action, the order read. A little bit of a side note on there. He's talking about migrants and the fentanyl going across the border. Guys, when it comes to the Canadian border and American border, the amount that goes through our border is less than 1% for both of those things. Um, I apologize. So, in terms of fentanyl, 1% of all fentanyl, 43 pounds, goes through the Canadian border, as opposed to 21,900 pounds from other countries that goes across into the United States. So, break down a comparison in the fentanyl for you there. That's like, why is he worried about the Canadian border? And same when it comes to illegal immigration, right? Like we're very small. I think we're like 1-2% of illegal immigration goes across our border. So again, he's focusing on the wrong thing. Like trying to deal with that stuff with Canada, you're really not going to make a difference. You need to focus on, if you're going to focus on it, is the southern border and other avenues. But Canada definitely isn't one to worry about. So, guys, Canada, hours later, Justin Trudeau announced Canada's statements in regards to the tariffs, and Canada's hitting back against the US President Donald Trump's tariffs with counter tariffs worth $155 billion. The United States has confirmed that it intends to impose the 25% tariffs on most Canadian goods, with the 10% tariff on energy starting February 4th. Uh, Justin Trudeau goes on to say that he's met with the premiers and our cabinet, which was yesterday, and he will be speaking with the president of Mexico shortly. Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to U.S. trade actions with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on the Saturday in an address to the nation. Trudeau said this will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days. Time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek and find alternatives. Speaking to reporters, Trudeau said he has been reaching out to Trump since his inauguration, but has not yet had the chance to speak with the American president. Trudeau says that Canada's response will be a far reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits, fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. He said the list of tariff goods will include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and material like lumber and plastics. Canada's response could also include non tariff measures centered around the supply of critical minerals or energy procurement. Asking Canadians to stand in solidarity with each other, Trudeau said. In this moment, we must pull together. And guys, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, you need to think of this as we need to come together as Canadians against what America is doing towards us, right? This is going to affect us so, so much. And I'm going to get into the effects in a little bit here as I continue. But there's so many implications on this stuff, guys, especially being that we've already retaliated and Trump has put in that clause that I mentioned earlier in terms of if Canada decides to fire back, he's going to broaden things, expand things. So sounds like we're in for definitely a bumpy ride. So hang on to your butts. Um, there are many ways for you to do your part. If it means checking labels at the supermarkets and picking Canadian made products, it might mean opting for Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon or uh, foregoing Florida orange juice altogether. Trudeau adds it might mean changing your summer vacation plans to stay here in Canada and explore the many national and provincial parks, historical sites, and tourist destinations our great country has to offer. Speaking in Ottawa, Trudeau also addressed the American people, warning them that Trump's actions would put their jobs in jeopardy and raise costs south of the border, as well as north of the border. So, other key points on the federal level stuff right now, I do have a list of comments from different people. just to make sure we cover all the bases here. So the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, and guys, he did do another press conference today that I did watch, but I haven't factored in yet, just because I'm not done going through what he says and making sure things are essentially legit as per what he says and facts. So I didn't want to incorporate that into this because I didn't have all the information on that one. But so far, yesterday, Pierre Poilievre called on the federal government to recall Parliament to pass an aid package and hit the U.S. with retaliatory dollar for dollar tariffs, which we've essentially already done um, for the tariffs aspect of it. Guys, I would agree that I think at this point, given what we're facing, I do believe that the parliament does need to sit. Our politicians need to go, and we need to take care of this. Like, this is something, forget about everything else at the moment. This is front and center, right? Because there's so many different things that the Canadians are going to hurt so hard with all this going on. Also, the NDP
Do you
leader,
think
Jagmeet.
we'll have ability to? Do you think we'll have ability to use these retroactive tariffs to our like? Is this just a stall technique? Do you think,
No,
or do you think Trump is calling the shot and going to get away with it? I don't.
no, he's definitely not going to get away with it. We're going to get more into that afterwards once I get through all this stuff. But no, this is, don't get me wrong, Canada has to retaliate and Canada has to stick up for itself as a whole. And with all the other stuff that I'm going to be bringing you. So give me a little bit here, and hopefully I'll answer some of your questions. But there's quite a bit going on
I'll be
being
back.
talked about. Different provinces doing different things at this point, right? So NDP leader Jagmeet Singh said in a statement, "Today Donald Trump has unleashed tariffs on Canada that will hurt all of us and Americans. Now is the time for Canadians to stand strong and stand together. Our values and our solidarity will not crumble in the face of Donald Trump's economic attack." Mark Carney, who's currently running for the leadership of the Liberal Party, said in a statement that he supports dollar for dollar retaliatory tariffs aimed where they will be felt the hardest in the United States, but will have the least impact in Canada. At the same time, we need a coordinated strategy to boost investment and to support our Canadian workers through what will be a difficult moment, he says. Over the medium term, if we can no longer rely on American neighbors, we must diversify our trading relationships and build new sources of jobs and growth based on our immense resources, our talented people, and their innovation in industry. Krista Freeland, also running for the leadership of the Liberal Party right now, the former federal finance minister, urged the government to impose $200 billion worth of retaliatory tariffs. I would include on that list 100% tariffs on Tesla. I would include on that list tariffs on whiskey and cheese, on dairy from the US, so that those Wisconsin dairy farmers who voted for Trump see themselves on the list, call up the White House and say, wait a minute, that's not what we voted for. We did not vote to lose our jobs and lose our markets. Very good point from Christopher Freeland on that. Credit where credit's due. That's the sort of stuff, and we do see people and politicians in the United States speaking up quite a bit. Um, Even Republicans are kind of shaking their heads, unless you're within the inner circle of Trump, where at this point, guys, it's just like what we've seen before in history back in the 1930s, 1940s, where Trump has surrounded himself with yes men and essentially let him run free and do what he wants as long as they get their portion of the power. Yeah, they won't rein him in. They won't correct him or tell him he's wrong. They'll just agree with him and allow him to just piss away what credibility the United States has at this point. I apologize for phrasing it that way, but that's essentially what's happening. Um, So economists said that the U.S. tariffs in response from Canada could likely see the Canadian economy contract by 2%, a sharp contrast to the projected 1.8% growth rate of 2025. Canada could head into a recession, including job losses and inflation. The tariffs and counter tariffs would also lift inflation from the current 2% to 2.7% headline number, as some of the increased costs from tariffs are passed on to Canadian consumers. Canadians will likely see lower demand for all goods and services like new cars, dining out, and entertainment. The auto sector in the US, Canada, and Mexico will be particularly hard hit, with the industry losing out to competitors in Europe and Asia. The scenario in which economic damage is minimized is one in which a trade agreement is negotiated, put and putting an end to the tariffs. The longer tariffs and retaliation continues, the more fractured and uncompetitive the three countries' economies will become, and the more economic pains consumers will feel from higher prices, fewer goods available, and fewer jobs. Chuck Schumer, actually, I made a note here in the United States. Um, Trump's tariffs will raise the cost for American consumers unnecessarily and create tension between the two countries that always got along in essentially every way. So yeah, guys, there's so much there. Um, we hit them back, and it's waiting to see what the United States is going to do back at this point. Pretty much everyone's consensus when it comes to politicians across the board in Canada have been pretty close and pretty tight knit in terms of no, we got to do Canada first, put Canada first. You know, we got to stand up for Canadians, Canadian jobs, Canadian consumers, the prices of everything. Um, there are some outliers on the provincial level, guys, unfortunately. And we'll see how that goes now that the tariffs have actually put in place, what those premiers have to say. So now I've got a list of different provinces and premiers that have talked about things at this point. So statements that we have starting in Alberta from Premier Daniel Smith said her province will work collaboratively with our federal government and fellow provinces on a proportionate response to the imposed U.S. tariffs. She added, Alberta will, however, continue to strenuously oppose any effort to ban exports to the U.S. or to tax our own people and businesses on goods leaving Canada for the United States. Such tactics would hurt Canadians far more than Americans, she said. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said he was extremely disappointed. Canada now has no choice but to hit back and hit back hard, he said in his statements. The coming days and weeks will be incredibly difficult. Trump's tariffs will devastate our economy. They'll put 450,000 jobs at risk across the province. Every sector and region will feel the impact. Furthermore, Doug Ford has announced that Ontario will be removing all American products from the shelves of LCBO. British Columbia Premier David Eby said it is a declaration of economic war. Effective today, I have directed BC liquor stores to stop buying American liquor, he said. Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Anthony Furey urging Canadians to buy local. I join Canadians across the country condemning the unjustified tariffs the U.S. introduced on Canadian products. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew said, so Trump built a wall, but it's a wall targeting us. Trump's tariffs tax is an attack on the Canadians and Canada and who we are. Uh, Quebec, guys. Uh, Premier Francois Legault has vowed to fight for Quebecers who will be affected by U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to impose tariffs on Canadian imports. He estimates that over 100,000 jobs will be lost in the province. Today, Mr. Trump has decided to attack us. We have to stand up. We have to fight to protect our economy, to protect our jobs, he told reporters Saturday night. Quebec's premier said he met with his ministers, whom he says are all working to minimize the impact of tariffs. He is considering various solutions, including creating as many jobs as possible at Hydro-Quebec and fast-tracking the construction of infrastructure in the health, education, and public transit sectors, which would generate new construction positions and create further jobs. Legault views the situation as an opportunity for Quebec companies to replace imported American products and develop new products in the markets. We didn't want this trade war, but we're capable of defending ourselves. We're capable of overcoming this situation and coming up and out of it even stronger, he adds. So, guys, that's the breakdown I have at this point. I went through quite a bit of different things to get as much as I could in terms of that stuff. So, yeah, guys, we're looking at, depending what happens moving forward, we're looking at job losses across the country in multiple sectors, different provinces, estimating in the hundreds of thousands of jobs could be lost or laid off. So massive implications. And I'm waiting to see what happens when the stock market opens tomorrow morning and how that's going to look, especially with the way things have gone over the weekend. Um, yeah. Uh, Smarshy, you were here first. What are your thoughts right now on everything?
Oh God. uh, I'm in the middle on this right now. I mean, I'm glad that David Eby's standing up. I'm glad that Wob Canoes. I'm not surprised that Smith is not doing a better job because, well, let's be honest, she's not a good premier. We all know that. Um, Basically the tariffs that he's putting on us because of whatever reason, the substances going back and forth to the United States. I actually went back and looked at the video on TikTok of Johnny and Canada to the U.S. with the substance abuse. 2022, there was 60,000 um, gone into the U.S. And then in 2023, it went down to 55,000. Then it went to 2024, which it was 11.6 thousand. That's an 80% decrease. And then if you look at the U.S. to Canada, 2022, 90,000, 97,000 went into the Canada, into our country here from the U.S. 2023 went from 100, from 97 the other year to 135,000. And 2024, 161,000. So that's a 66% increase of the substances going in from Canada to the US. I don't think it's about that at all. I think it's just about him not being able to own our resources. I think that's the main thing. Um, I honestly, I'm proud of everybody that stood together and did this and made it possible. I'm just not very surprised at this point that he's going to try and do something else, like
No, absolutely.
that's
And
me
it,
just
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Trump is such a wild card. And guys, like, as much as before all this, I was saying, we have to wait and see what happens because we did. It really isn't shocking. And the fact that he's adding to China the tariffs towards China that he already had put in place from his first time in office, and Biden and his administration never got rid of. So he's just adding on top in that sense. Um, yeah. Uh, Charity, you want to add your thoughts at this point?
I mostly came in to get people seeing that I was live, so they'd see you're live if they've never seen it before. I came in to give you views. And then yeah, but I don't. I think it's. I think it's good what some of the premiers are doing. I think some of it is performative, especially with the election coming up in Ontario. I really think that Doug Ford is doing everything he can to make himself look like a good guy, so that so everybody will forget all the bad stuff that he's done, right? Like all the terrible things he's done over the past 4 years or 3 years or whatever it was, and nobody's like he's pulling a Danielle Smith, because Danielle Smith did this in the last election, right? Hey, Calgary, I'm gonna give you money to build a hockey arena. Oh, guess what? Here's these rebate checks for certain people in the province. You'll get $100, and totally not a bribe to vote for me or anything, right? But yeah, I literally think that's what he's doing. He's trying to make himself look like a good guy, and he's not.
No, absolutely. And that adds the extra layer, like you said, in terms of us here in Ontario being in an election now that he's called. He's definitely going to be bolstering himself and trying to position himself in a way that makes him look better. Coupled with the $200 checks that he handed out to people in Ontario. Essentially, I'm calling them a bribe right before calling the election, right? And other stuff like that. I mean, guys, the Greenbelt scandal is still happening. As much as he apologized and whatever, like nothing's been stopped in that sense. So that land is still being going sought after when it comes to realtors and developers. Still happening. Look at Ontario Place. What they're doing there. They're essentially going to be making it a high-end parking lot for his rich buddies. All that different stuff where there's so much corruption, so much like behind the scenes, um, really just bolstering the rich more and not doing his job in terms of taking care of healthcare and education and all the different sectors that he should be taking care of. So we've got to keep that in mind. And yeah, I think you equating to Danielle Smith, and that was going to be my next point, especially with her comments that she's been making in terms of, they're going to do what's needed, but we're going to do it in a way that isn't going to hurt America when it comes to oil. They really like you can't flip flop anymore, and pretty much just saying to Trump like, "Hey, do what you want, and I'll do my best to kind of just crap out the effort over here, at least in my province." Um, yeah, that's Treaty. How you doing? You got some thoughts you want to add?
Yeah. Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
While you were thinking about or talking about Danielle Smith, I certainly have some thoughts I want to add. But I didn't want to cut you off. Continue. I just wanted to join in and add to your discussion.
No, you're good. Just quickly, and then I'll give you the floor, guys. I want to be a little shameful here. Remember, tapping is clapping. Guys, share the stream. Let people know we're here having this conversation, getting the information out, making sure people know what's going on the ground as we go forward with all this stuff. Thank you so much for all the love, guys. I do have some live goals going on up there. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And guys, if you haven't joined the team yet, hit that little goldish orange heart up there. Become a part of the team. It's all about doing together as progressives, as the left. We need to come together and we need to be able to do this all and create the change that we need in Canada, North America, and the whole world. So thank you so much, guys, for all the love. And Treaty, the floor is yours. What do you got to add?
Oh, thanks. I was just like, when you brought up Danielle Smith, I was thinking about, I don't know how many folks were able to watch Rosemary Barton live today. And then they had the gentleman, I think he's the CEO, Mr. Colburn was his last name, from Surge Energy. And his talking points made my stomach turn. I can just see how Albertans would be like, oh my God, yeah, Danielle saved us. Our sector has been, protected from all of this. And he even alluded to something, and I have to fact check it, but he did say this, that they were able to secure fixed rates or something on their oil and gas. And I also saw tonight already that West Texas crude is up apparently, which is weird. But I just feel like they're slapping us in the face here in Alberta with their connection to all of it. Like, we know Harper's connected to the IDU, right? Harper's also pals with Netanyahu and Modi and all of them. And now he's pals with Danielle because Danielle gave him the CEO position of AIMCO, which is the Alberta Investment Management Corporation. And we all know how connected he is to Mr. Polyev. And then you throw Kevin O'Leary into the mix, and Jordan Peterson, and Kevin and Jordan and Danielle all run off down to Mar-a-Lago together. Like, this is insanity, I feel like, in this province, and we're just kind of like letting it slide under the radar. And then these fellows like this CEO from Surge Energy jumps into the news today and paints a picture like that the conservative talking heads in this province will run with. So I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't know if how many people like maybe saw it the same way, or if I'm, already maybe I'm biased too now, right? Like, I'm trying to keep my own biases in check and question, okay, is this, am I just being emotional, or right?
No,
So I
like,
just
and
wanted to
there's
see
so
what you
many.
think.
No, absolutely. Like, and there's so many different factors when it comes to Alberta too, right? Like, we talk mostly about the oil and gas sector in Alberta, but you need to add in the hydro sector as well, because Alberta actually sells off quite a bit of their hydro to other provinces and down in the United States, which is actually part of what led to Alberta going through those blackouts that they were, because their energy sector isn't regulated; it's self-regulated. So they sell off whatever they want and leave Albertans with essentially the crumbs of what's left for hydro. And that's all coupled together, right? Because that shows more of the corporate interests, in terms of how the government runs things in Alberta. To further that, I'll use the oil sector again, where the Albertan government has been flipping the bill for cleaning up after the oil sector, when they're supposed to be flipping their own bill for cleaning up after themselves. So you have Albertan taxpayer money going towards that. Um, and she's really just, I think at this point, the premier of Alberta is thinking of the corporate interests more than the Albertan people, because who's going to hurt? Like, we, the consumers, absolutely are going to hurt, but they're thinking more so like our corporate interests are going to hurt more so with all of this. And again, guys, just like we said about the tariffs, um, that Trump was talking about, like, that's gonna drive up the price for Americans, because the companies are going to flip the cost down to the consumers, and it's the same
Yeah.
thing that's going to happen up here when it comes to us putting our tariffs on. Our companies are going to do the same thing. They're going to try and flip the cost down to us, to make up the difference. So that's where you're going to start to see the inflation on groceries, on resources, and cost of living. Lindy, good to see you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No complaints. It's been a rough few days because I've just saw that, not only has the tariffs been implemented now, they've also cut off all US funding to South Africa. And so both of my countries are being affected at the same time. So it's a double whammy for me. And I am really angry, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt, guys, and we need to remember, like, yeah, Canada's facing quite the crap show, for lack of better words. But I mean, it's not just Canada. So many other countries are affected by all these different policies and executive orders that Trump is pushing through. Whether we're talking about across the sea, across borders, North America, South Africa, like everywhere is being hit by stuff that he's doing, and it's really just creating chaos around the world right now. Lindy, if you wouldn't mind, can you explain a bit more as to what's going on, in terms of like the stuff that he's doing and how it's affecting South Africa?
Yeah, okay, so I'll first explain why he has implemented this bill. Well, he hasn't implemented why he's cut off funding. To start off with, South Africa is signed into the constitution what we call the Land Expropriation Without Compensation Act. Now, if anybody knows the history of South Africa, you know that within segregation, black people were removed from areas to make way for white-only areas. And they were just displaced and put into what we call like shanty towns. So they were living in normal homes, everybody was living together, and they were displaced in without giving any resources or anything like that. And this happened like 30 odd years ago. It's not that long a time away. And a lot of people are sitting on like 10, 20, 30 hectares of land that was given to them by the government absolutely free of charge. And the government is saying, you know what, you are using 2 hectares, you're not using 8 hectares. we want to use that 8 hectares to redevelop South Africa and really bring it back to equality. Okay, and the far right is using this as an example, saying that white people are being forcefully removed from their homes, which is absolute propaganda. And obviously, Elon Musk, who's South African born, he belongs to all these far right groups within South Africa, and he's now relaying this message over to Trump. And when we're making strides to equality from a country that was absolutely horrific when it comes to racism and segregation. Now we have people like Donald Trump cutting off funding. And what funding we were getting from the United States is to tackle our healthcare. Because we have free healthcare in South Africa as well. So this covered some of the very poverty-stricken areas so that they can get free healthcare and free education. We're also the country with the highest rate of HIV/AIDS. So they were using funding to really tackle that when it comes to medication, when it comes to education, when it comes to free contraceptives, when it comes to various things. And we've made so much stride to it that, with the funding that we have from various foreign aids, including the US and Canada, to be honest with you. However, the majority of the funding does come from the US. And then also we had funding when it came to actually giving food to our poverty-stricken areas, because South Africa is the most unequal country in the world. If you look at, there will be one road that separates the middle class to the ultra poor. And if I talk about ultra poor, it is poverty that you guys have seen on television, most probably. Malnutrition, zero electricity, zero running water, one toilet shared between 3,000 families. And right next to the road next to it, we have beautiful homes with, 2 acres of land. And unfortunately, it's still segregated by race, and they're really working towards, having everybody have a home with electricity, running water that's safe for children. And yeah, so, having the tariffs, knowing that things will get more expensive currently, we moved to Canada to give our kids a really good education, a really good future, and a really good everything, to be honest with you, because Canada is one of I'm sorry, Canada is absolutely one of the best countries in the world, and I've been to 13. And I'm lucky to have my kids live here and live in Canada for the last 10 years. However, that doesn't mean that I don't love my country. I'm very proud to be South African. And I'll say I'm South African Canadian. That's what I always say. Because when I became a citizen of this country, I adopted both cultures, and Canada's accepted me with my culture as it is. Now, me coming into the country and seeing that the tariffs were first implemented into Canada, and, I live in Montreal, things are going to get more expensive than what it is. We've been suffering, with cost of living as it is for the last couple of years, and knowing that that's going to go up, and some of us are barely making ends meet or just paying our bills, and the time for having extra cash is over. And 24 hours after that, he announced the funding to my country is getting suspended fully. And knowing how those people get food and where the next meal is coming from, this is the only meal. Some people only have one meal a day. It's getting cut right now. And my heart breaks for those people, because I don't even have enough money to send funding over for people that's not going to have food. So I think that's what's heartbreaking.
No, absolutely. And I really thank you for bringing us that information, kind of giving us a better breakdown on what's happening in South Africa and how, it's not just Canada and Mexico facing issues because of Trump and the stuff that he's doing now that he's back in office. So thank you so much for that, guys. Keep that topic in mind and make sure you think of Lindy. And people over in South Africa, and just give the love, spread awareness, which is the best we can do, and just keep them in mind, keep them in your thoughts, and keep them in your prayers. That's Yeah. There's so much. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I really appreciate it. Um,
I
wow,
mean, it's okay.
that's
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I mean, I don't think people realize the consequences of this man's actions. And the sad part is that there's a lot of South Africans that support Trump. And they're usually the more privileged ones that unfortunately shares the same culture as me. And it's very heartbreaking and disheartening knowing that people like me support what's being done right now. And it's disheartening seeing some Canadians support it as well, I'll be honest with you, because no one is winning this. Nobody.
No, absolutely. In the end, not a single country or a single person is going to win from what's going on, what Trump's doing. in terms of all this stuff. There's such a list, guys. Treaty or Charity, is there anything you would like to add or bring to the table as well in terms of what's all going on?
Nothing
I'm
said
okay
is
right
that.
now.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were speaking to me.
No, I think I'm good, but thank you, Lindy, so much for sharing. We It's so important that we hear from so many different perspectives so we can all understand each other. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I think that people don't realize, and just to give you the numbers, to give you like just the eagle point of view of what's happening, more than 45% of South Africa lives under the poverty line. That is 38 million South Africans that is going to be suffering. It's not just a neighborhood. It is a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing. I definitely don't want to compare, what's happening in South Africa with Canada, as we all, both countries are going to have our own struggles moving forward on different degrees. And that's a point that I wanted to make for in terms of in Canada, right? We're already going through a housing crisis. We're already going through food insecurity crisis. We're already going through all these different crises upon crises for the cost of living and people's quality of life. And all this is just going to exacerbate that. And our unhoused numbers have been exploding, for lack of better words, over the last couple of years, and this is going to exacerbate that, guys. People are going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose their financial security. More people are going to, people are already having a hard time paying the rent and for groceries and, the other bills that are needed to get through, whether it's hydro or, just bare minimum at this point. Um, yeah, Carrie, D11, you're absolutely right. It's the same scenario we've been saying for how many years now, 30, 40 years, where the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and sorry, but fucked over, for lack of better words. And we're stuck in that endless cycle, but it's definitely been exacerbated more as of late, and it's going to continue with all these tariffs and everything. Um, so that's some key factors, guys. There is some hope. Where there are different people talking about essentially bolstering our own sectors through this, guys. Like we talked about, the Quebec premier has said, they're going to take the opportunity to bolster their own infrastructure in a lot of different sectors like healthcare and education. I've heard Mark Carney make comments in terms of we just need to strengthen and bolster our own sectors within our borders, which is absolutely an option. Automotive is key. Um, the beef sector is another one. Forestry, minerals, guys. I live in Northern Ontario, so it's all about the forestry and the minerals up here. And I mean, the more we can do here, the better, right? It means we don't have to rely on the United States for so many different steps along the way in the process of either getting the resources kind of from the raw materials. So whether we're talking logs, whether we're talking, say, nickel, which is big up here in Northern Ontario, um, there's certain aspects or certain parts of the process we rely on the United States to help us get it to the finished product, right? So trying to uncouple some of our sectors and make it not so dependent on each other, as well as the Canadian government has been looking into different avenues for trade. I believe China is one avenue. They've been, I guess, having ongoing talks in ways that we might be able to go that route. Drawing a blank, guys. I apologize. There was another country as well. I believe they were uh, in talks with already. It's not coming to mind. If anyone knows it, by all means, shout it out or type it in the comments. But there are different ways, right? And this is where, unfortunately, there's nothing that's going to be a, you know, immediate fix. We can't fix this overnight, unfortunately, but whether you're talking kind of medium to long game in terms of changing things around and making it so we're not so dependent on trade with the United States, making so we have more diversity to be able to make different options if this sort of thing is to continue or happen in the future. But the end result altogether, like I said earlier, is going to be like we're going to have to renegotiate trade, which either means we're going to have to figure out the NAFTA agreement again and rewrite it once again, which I will point out the tariffs that Trump put in place, first and foremost, goes against our trade agreement, goes against the NAFTA agreement we have with the United States. So they're not lawful. And I'm sure the Canadian government is going to challenge it within the courts as well, which is another avenue in which we might see some progress, depending how fast that process goes. Um, does anyone have anything to add to that at this point?
I think diversifying the trade is going to be key, really key to this. And, living in Quebec, they really have highlighted buying Quebec products mainly in the last few years. And I know that a lot of people don't, agree with the language laws within Quebec, and everybody has a right to opinion. But the one thing that I do enjoy about Quebec, and I think a lot of Canada can learn from it, is that they've really focused on their beers, their products, their cheeses. They're like we've always had the Quebec stickers on like the grocery stores, and I gladly would much rather buy a Quebec product and have been for many years. So me choosing a Canadian made product, it's already something that we've implemented from 2020, and I think that that's going to be key for us. That's only going to work if everybody works together, and I think that that's one thing that we can do on a daily basis. Coming from South Africa, where we have trade agreements with China, I mean, agree or disagree with China, I mean, the human rights are atrocious when it comes to their workers. However, there are some positives trading with China when it comes to cost of goods. I'll be honest with you, keeping cost of living low because it is cheaper there. They would need to pull their socks up when it comes to their human rights, though. I mean, I think that's where Canada might be able to even assist in that direction, to be honest with you. So I think that it could be a positive thing altogether. Trading with Mexico when it comes to importing food, I think is going to be really important. I mean, if you go to Costco, you'll see a lot of made in, South American countries, Mexico being one of them, which is absolutely organic and the best quality food that you can get already. So we know how that could go. And I think, I hope that they cut off the power, to be honest with you. I hope that they really take more drastic measures and not just a quick kickback because I think that they think that Canada is weaker than what we are, and we're not. We actually they need us more, to be honest with you. Yes, it's going to be more expensive. Yes, it's going to be whatever, but we're not stuck without them either. And now that we're going to stop being so dependent on the US, even if things get fixed tomorrow and say, okay, the tariff was off, I just hope that it doesn't take away from our trade agreements being diversified.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I was having an issue on mute myself. Absolutely, and that's where, like I said, unfortunately, it won't be a quick fix, but it's definitely a good way for us to diversify and just make it so if this sort of thing happens in the future, whether it be with the United States or another trade partner, it's not going to have such a massive impact. And it really is a downfall in terms of how closely integrated our trade and economies are with the United States. Just quickly, farm tracks, and then I'll give the floor to you as you just came up. But guys, don't forget, tapping is clapping. Hit that like button, guys. Let's get the numbers going. I got the live goals going, guys. I already hit some, so thank you so much for that. But guys, don't forget the gifts are there. It's an option. I'll never force you, but if you feel compelled, I won't say no. As well, that little goldish orange heart up there, guys. If you're not part of the team yet, go ahead and hit that heart. Become a part of the team because we need to do this together. This isn't about an individual movement, it's about a collective movement that we're all going to be a part of to make things better. So, we can't do it alone and we need everyone to take part in everything. Farm Tracks, go ahead.
Hey, we have to look at the pattern of behavior of Donald Trump, right? When he put sanctions on Russia, India and China was the two countries that profited from exploiting Russia's oil and gas, right? So those two countries always use a third party to cyber attack a country, right? So if They are using Elon Musk and Trump as a pawn to cyber attack Canada and the Canadian economy. They're the one who are gonna exploit our resources. Because Trudeau stood up against Trump because Trump is trying to steal our oil, and the Conservative Party, they are not aligned with the Canadian interest. They are undermining our interest and going to Mar-a-Lago and doing negotiations, right? Daniel Smith, there's a couple of ways. First, I think Trump is in a violation of obstruction of justice, because those two countries have very criminal ongoing activities. Their intel is involved in assassinating Canadians and attempted assassination on Americans, right? So those Five Eyes countries, intel, they are collaborating and putting pressure on those Asian countries from interfering in Canadian politics, and now they figured out a way to use Trump that aligns more with the Chinese and Indian interest instead of American interest, because they are making these two countries fight while China is gonna win the economy war. So we have to look outside the box and be very careful. We can launch an investigation into Elon and Trump for obstructing the justice, and we can launch a civil lawsuit for the tariff, bring Trump to because these are unconstitutional tariffs that are exploited when Trump is using lawfare against Canada. He's abusing his power to destroy American as well as Canadians, right? He's not acting as a president. He's acting at it like, because he has a good ties with China. Chinese companies use Trump logo, and they pay Trump every year because they have agreement, business deals with China. So, which is very clear. He's aligned more with the Chinese interest, trying to obstruct Canada from looking into illegal Chinese activity in Canada, right? So
Yep.
we can sue Trump and Trump company, and he's obstructing the justice. And then the Elon Musk should be. I think we should do an arrest warrant for Elon because he has heavily involved in and bashing Trudeau and Canadian politics. So Elon is a heavy partner in trying to cyber attack Canada. So these
Well,
two guys.
yeah, so if you don't mind just muting, and I think I'll try and get it kind of put together there. I absolutely get what you're saying. There's so many different avenues and branches off of that. Um, a part of it being that the foreign interference in terms of Russia and other countries paying for influencers indirectly to spread their propaganda and push the narrative a certain way, to suit things the for Trump and Republicans or conservative aspect of it, far right wing talking points, absolutely. Elon Musk, guys, look at the way things are going. Elon has one of the biggest platforms, social media platforms. He's given how much money to Donald Trump in the form of campaign donations, and now he's honestly, like I just heard today, that they were finally able to pry Elon Musk apart from Donald Trump, and people within Donald Trump's own circle at this point are getting concerned about Elon being so close to Trump. So the fact that Elon is going to have some sort of role and be so close to Trump, having the biggest media platform, and being able to essentially censor what he wants and do what he wants. Same for Facebook, Meta, sorry, I should say. Even same for TikTok in terms of everybody that sat at his inauguration ceremony when it came to social media, guys. Like, you got to look at the stuff that's in front of us, seeing all this stuff coupled together. Like, Facebook has gotten rid of fact checking, right? Since. So put all these things together, and this is what's happening, and it's really just creating, for lack of better words, a shit show across the board, in terms of information, facts, and getting the right information out there and how it's going to affect people and things. Happy comments? He's a little busy there, guys. Anyone else
Sorry
have
about that.
something to?
I
No.
was putting away a shopping cart, and I didn't want to, you know, chip everybody out.
Mhm.
I just like to brag for a moment here before we get going. Just went to the grocery store, did all my groceries, got everything I need for the next 2 weeks or whatever, and doesn't matter. But it was all Canadian. Every product I bought was Canadian, from the milk to the cereal. It took a little bit longer sourcing the stuff, like not buying Nature Valley anymore. And then I had to compromise on a few other things. Like now I bought Kellogg's cereal this time, which pisses me off a bit. But this is a perfunctory um, and short-sighted tariff war, and I think that this is to engineer an animosity and to make Trump seem like a saving grace. And he's depending on people's ignorance as far as knowledge of what a trade deficit is and the needs of American citizens, and he's preying on that. And I think that far be it from me to say I told you so. Uh, so I won't. But when Trudeau spoke yesterday, I drove past his cavalcade at 8:30 actually, so I just missed him, which sucked. But anyways, what he said yesterday resonated deeply with hopefully all Canadians. And then with me as well. Like this is what we've been talking about the whole time. And I think this is the canary in the coal mine for Canadians. If we cannot come together as leftists, we can expect to see the same thing in Canada. And for all you people out there that call me center right, I I dare you to compare me to a right wing right now, and all of those virtues that they stand for or against.
Yeah.
So buyer beware, and show up. Show up when we call your name.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right in terms of anyone on the left. And I would honestly say at this point, guys, like in a lot of different ways, it's going to be hard for both the left and the right. But we need to swallow a lot of differences of opinions and stand together as one country, one nation to combat this, right? So guys, we need to use nuance. Yes, we don't agree with a lot when it comes to politically or economically, when it comes to the left versus the right, or however you want to put that. But the fact of the matter is we can't do it with one side fighting the battle. We have to do it as a nation, right? And I again, like I said earlier, I think it's great we've seen um, how so many different politicians have come together on both the federal level and the provincial level to stand together as a nation against the United States and Trump and what's going on with the tariffs and the implications towards Canada is going to be because of that stuff. So, guys, just to wrap up here, it's been a great conversation. I appreciate everyone for coming up and having their voice be heard. That's what it's all about, guys. We all need to have a voice, and we all need to listen, so we can understand better from different points of view, different places in the world. South Africa today, which again, thank you, Lindy, so much for giving us some insight as to what's going on over there with Trump and everything that he's doing. Um,
Can,
thank you so much for that. Oh, go
can,
ahead, Happy.
can you also can we also take a second and just accept accountability as well? And
Yeah.
I don't want to be an asshole. I really don't like being that guy. But I'd like to point out the obvious here. Um, in the United States, there was a movement of people that were unwilling to support a democratic government because of a perception or an understanding or a lack of understanding of what was going to happen should Trump take office. I would like to point out that since October 7th, in that region, the United States alone has committed over $2 billion to NGOs, blood services, and humanitarian aid to Palestinian people. $2 billion since the the October 7th incident. And then on top of that, the United States has committed $200 million year over year to Palestine. That is now gone. Gone, gone, gone. Because of virtue signaling and people not willing to compromise. That is what we're looking at.
Absolutely. As well, like Lindy was mentioning earlier towards South Africa, the funding and stuff that goes that way is gone. And so many other countries and different places are facing the same thing that they've relied on the United States because they've always been, you know, more so of a leader in some ways when it comes to helping other countries and doing different things, guys. And so much is being affected globally. So keep that in mind moving forward, guys. But I do have to wrap it up. Unfortunately, I've got a meeting to get to. So for now, guys, remember all the information, spread the word of what's going on, keep yourself informed. Until next week, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you next week, guys. Take care.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Have a good night. Thanks for having me up.
You're welcome. Have a great night, everyone.